digital look actually decent and make shopping fun again, like it was in the catalog age. So we're looking at her new software that's a sort of an API or a plugin for Shopify. And if I get this wrong, she'll fix it. But we're going to just let her tour us around because I'm so tired of going on even the best catalog sites, and they look like they've forced the products into little bitty boxes, and it just is awful. So let's hear what Sarah's got to say and how she's going to break through the industry.
Okay. So thank you for that intro, John. This is Styliquin on our Styliquin demo site. So if you look way, way, way over to the right, Styliquin is that green bar. Now, if you're going to go and shop on a store that didn't have Styliquin, you'd click on the item and then you click through. Yeah, it's
okay. Yeah, that's the way most sites look. Boring.
Right. But if you have Styliquin, you just drag it onto the Styliquin bar and oh my God, look at that. You've got a whole page.
Explosion of content.
Yeah.
And not like it costs you anymore to have content. You know, Land's End did a study way in the beginning, and they had for some reason they came to this conclusion that on websites people didn't want content. And so unlike their catalog, which had stories and all kinds of stuff, they just had little boxes. And, you know, back in those days, we were all on dial-up, and so it made sense, you know, but nowadays, let's tell a story, right?
Well, that's the thing. Like, you know, I'm a nerd. You've known me for a long time. I'm very nerdy. And everyone who knows me is like, you're so nerdy. Why are you not doing online design? And I said, have you done any? It's incredibly boring, like incredibly boring.
Even for us nerdy people.
So I just kept waiting for the problems to be solved, because the first problem that had to get solved was it needed to be faster.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, you could come up with the best idea in the world, but if you can't actually, you know, execute on that idea in a reasonable amount of time, which no one could do with a 420 dial-up, whatever modem. Yeah, it was like horrible. And then we got to broadband, then it got better, and then it got better. And I kept waiting, like, okay, now they're going to do some fun stuff. Nope, nobody was doing anything fun. So the idea for Styliquin literally came from a NMOA conference where I was talking to Wayfair and I was talking to Bean, I was talking to like all these people, and they're all like, wow, we've got all these amazing assets. Like, we've spent millions and millions of dollars on photography, and it just doesn't feel like it's right. It doesn't feel like that branding is really doing anything online. And that's because online shopping sucked. And so I was sitting there thinking, like, what do we need to make it interesting? And we needed to do something
right where that combat boot is, right? This is archetypical of every website you see, right? And then you click on it and maybe there's a bigger shot and some description if you're lucky.
Yeah, well, that's what you'd see normally. Like,
my wife tried to buy
here.
My wife tried to buy, like that. My wife tried to buy purses. You think you could find the size of a purse? You think anybody could put it on a table with a pencil next to it or something so you could have some idea of scale? No, they all look alike and they all are not, none of them are the same size. It's terrible. Wow.
And so with Styliquin, the idea is that you can now flip through a website like you'd flip through a magazine. And what's nice is it just makes it so much faster. So, I mean, if you think about, like, I just flipped through, what was it, 8 different products? Like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. Like 8 different products.
But this is all running on your machine. You're doing this fake demo. I know how that is.
It's not a fake demo. You could do it on any machine. But anyway, so that whole,
I mean, you're actually are you running on a site that's up on Shopify?
This is on Shopify, yeah. This is exactly what you'd get.
So it's legit.
But yeah. And the other thing so besides having it more interesting to actually look at things, when you add something to your idea board, you can save all of the things that interested you. So let's say,
like Pinterest, kind of, right? You can make a board up.
Yeah. Only, you could, so if you were like shopping for an expensive piece of jewelry, You could save all those if you're,
I do that all the time.
I frequently, that's my favorite thing to do. But let's say I also wanted to put together an outfit, and I just put a bunch of stuff on there. So I can go like, okay, I know I want this. Like, I know I'm going to put those on. So do I want them with my combat boots? Does it look better here? I probably don't want to deal with any of the jewelry. I know I like the scarf, but I think I want to go in that direction. There's just so much more you can do with it.
Yeah.
And the other
Well,
thing
90% of people won't even do that. But I do like the idea that you can hover over an item and get more stuff.
yeah,
Of course, then they'd have to hire Chat GPT to write some real copy, right? Because they fired all the
exactly.
copywriters.
But the other thing that's really funny is, like, when you decide what you want, you can still change it. So women who are like, well, I don't know, do I want that? Do I want it with this? Like, do I want it to be red? Do I want it to be white? Do I want it to be gray? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
but my question is, do the websites look like garbage because they don't know any better, or do they look like garbage because everyone else is doing it, or do they look like garbage because they don't want to pay anybody to do any design and they just want to do blockouts of each item with a desktop photographer? What's the root cause of this dearth of design?
I think part of it is it's how it's done. It's stack architecture. So there's a theme for each of these. I don't know if you want me to stop sharing. I'll probably keep flipping.
Well, I think of you as maybe the heartbeat of all these questions. So I want to ask you some questions.
But anyway,
even this they can wreck, right? They can wreck this if those problems are systemic, and they don't have any designers anymore. All they've got is a guy in a closet with a couple of coffee filter lights, right?
Well, a lot of it comes down to how much time you want to spend. I mean, art and design you can't just like wiggle your nose and have it come out good. It usually requires a little bit of back and forth, and you try a few things. And so what's nice about Styliquin is it takes all those images and does a pretty darn good layout without you having to do anything.
Okay, so if you have the intellectual property, if you have of course, every time you get a new item in, you got to take new shots. It doesn't matter that you were on location 2 years ago. I mean, you could still use them as sort of background stuff, but it's got to be item focused. So this gives you a bigger canvas. I can see that, right? Are you saying that it actually kind of lays it out for you?
Yeah.
Oh, because right now I'm seeing it from a user standpoint. What if
Right. So from a user standpoint, it's just way more fun to shop. It's way faster. You can save all the things that you're interested in. From the store owner perspective, like, you don't have to do anything to get that layout. You can change that layout by changing the order of the products. So with this layout, if I change the order that these items were shown in the here, so there's the carousel. These are the order of things in the carousel.
Okay.
And it automatically creates this layout.
Okay.
Like I didn't have to do anything.
Oh, wow. That's something. Okay. So you don't need don't need a decent designer. At least it gives you some fun. Yeah. Okay. It makes the verticals vertical and the horizontals horizontal. It looks like a 4-column kind of.
It was actually fun when we originally had templates. And
yeah, I was going to say, can you use templates? Could you do a 3/2 or a 4/3 or whatever?
They sort of magically happen all by themselves without having to do that.
Cool. Yeah, because nobody knows what I'm talking about anyway.
Yeah, but anyway,
we used to print up blue lines. We used to print up these big blue line sheets for paste up, remember? And they had our grid on it for each client, for each cataloger. We would have a different, conformity grid.
Yeah. No,
No need of that.
So anyway, I got a new, he's way more than a coder. He's our tech guy, Jeff Eisen. And we had been using templates at that point, but people weren't really changing them. Like I've been a little bit astonished by how little work people
anyone's
on
willing
websites are willing to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, with catalogs, man, we work our butts off. It is really hard to like put together these things.
Every spread was a work of art. I remember.
Yeah. And now it's sort of like, I'm sorry, you want me to go in and change a setting on every single product? It's like, yeah, but you don't have to like come up with a whole different like layout anyway. So he said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, honestly, I'd like it to just happen all by itself. And he said, then you need to write an algorithm. I was like, okay. So I was headed out on vacation, and that was my fun vacation project, was writing an algorithm for the
not mystical,
layouts.
is it? It's not really mystical. It's just like, well, okay, what would I do if I had this and this? Okay.
Right.
And what would I do if I had this or that? Yeah, right. I know.
And the minute you do it one way, everyone, like these two guys were like, so, I mean, it looks kind of old fashioned. I'm like, it looks old fashioned. And they're like, yeah, I mean, it doesn't have any rounded corners. And I'm old, but rounded corners came in the 80s. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Freaking years ago. Like, that's new.
More business products. That was a big deal. We had to have rounded corners and everything.
It was just like, that's new. So I am no longer sure what's new and what's not new anymore. There's
nothing new under the sun.
I think it's all just completely fair game. You get to do whatever you want and come up with it.
Okay, so I'm looking at this at a kind of a full screen, pretty much all full screen.
Yeah.
So what happens if I don't have it on full screen? Because I have lots of tabs, or, heaven forbid, I try shopping on my phone like my kids do.
Wait, it's so fun. Hold on, let me change the.
See why I wanted to ask questions, because I would.
I know. Oh, please. So this is, can you still see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm hoping it figures out those numbers, because I always get confused by those numbers.
All right. So let's say
whatever I have in my hand, it will know what I have, right?
We'll just shop with men's for the thing. Okay. So you just basically does exactly the same thing. You get the same beautiful lookbook sort of.
Okay, now that looks normal, like normal Ucky. Oh, now you get a fancy. Okay, did you click on it or just hover over it?
See, you still have to drag it onto the bar. So I'm dragging it onto the bar, and then I close the bar. So
we used to have a rule against chopping people's heads in half.
Yeah, that everybody got over that one.
I can see that.
It's kind of, yeah. So there we go.
Those are those algorithms, but we just had rules. Okay. Wow.
So it works great on the phone. It works great on desktop.
So how do I get started on this? What would I have to do if I had it?
You need a Shopify website. So if you have a Shopify website, so basically it just works with an API, and we don't connect to the we connect to the shopping cart in that we put things in and take things out, but we're not part of that, the secure end of that. So
right, just like a visual layer.
Yeah, we're basically just adding an iframe.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, I don't know. It would be fun to try. And they sure could use your help, right?
Well, here's what's interesting. And, we tested this for 3 years, and I do have a white paper on styliquin.com if you want to.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Our first beta site, we were on there for 3 years. Well, they were doing nothing, like literally nothing. And we put it on the first year, we were up like 487%. The second year was like 130 something. The third year was crazy, but COVID too. And then COVID was still going on when we decided to become a Shopify app. And so we took it off the store because we didn't want to manage both. It was just too much at that point. And sales went down by 50%, and they still have not come back up.
That's amazing.
Yeah. 50%. I mean, that's well beyond.
Because it would be nice to do an A/B split. you know, where some people see it and some people don't. I mean, that'd be the right way to really test it, but that's pretty good anecdotal stuff anyway.
Well, I mean, when you get into the data with Styliquin, I mean, people use Styliquin or they don't. And that's
Right.
the other thing is you only pay for success. So if people don't use Styliquin, it's free.
Oh,
You
so
know,
when your users come in, your shoppers, and they use Shopify, but they don't use Styliquin because they don't get it. And I could see how that would be a common
some
thing.
people don't like it. Yeah.
Yeah. And what percentage?
It'll,
It's
it's about
distracting.
15 to 30. 32 is the most we've ever had
Okay.
on a site. 12 was the least, but that was also at the beginning. It usually goes in with the 15, 18% of shoppers. But what's fascinating is they will stay almost 100% longer. They will view 180% more products. They will come back about 28% more often, and they buy more when they do. And we think, I mean, how do you really know why anyone does anything? But
we don't worry about why. We're direct marketers. Yeah, that's not really true, but let's go on.
Yeah. But anyway, so what we think is happening is, you know, it stands out in their head. Like it's an exciting way to shop. It's new, it's different, it's interesting. So they remember it. We think they're coming back to see if the stuff that they put on their idea board is still on their idea board. And then when it is, it's like, well, I did kind of like it. So then they buy it. Because I mean, it's astonishing. It's more than 25% difference in return visits. People buy when they were Styliquin shoppers and don't buy when they
so you've got kind of a split.
shoppers.
I mean, it's not an nth, but it's you've got a small percentage that use it. Discover the fun. Drag a bar.
It's way more fun to shop with Styliquin.
Yeah.
It's just
I think, once one of those windows opens and you see an actual real model instead of a chopped off head, that's a really good metaphor.
Yeah.
For e-commerce shopping versus catalog shopping. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sell the fun, because once somebody tries it, I think they will really like it.
Yeah. And they will come back more often and they'll buy more when they do. It's fascinating. You'll be able to have an account with Styliquin. So you'll be able to share your boards and you'll be able to like you're going into work, you can shop on your phone, you save all the stuff that you think you might be interested on your idea board, and then you get into work and you can, on your big computer, go in and see all the stuff that you saved and thought was interesting. But this is another store that it's on, and you can see how
Okay, so this is a real store?
It's a real store.
Oh, good.
They make bangles.
Whoa. I mean, that's just amazing.
It's just super fun. It's just really super fun.
But I would try to tell this client, get some people in it or something, or animals. Yeah. Don't just have, they're at the bottom. That's great. Don't just have more shots of the same item shot on the desktop. That kind of takes away the fun of it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really excited to see what people are going to do with Styliquin. Yeah.
Well, it's a pleasure talking with you. I'll leave your contact information and stuff down below, because we got to get more people using it so more consumers can get excited about shopping.
It's better. It's cooler. It's fun.
Yeah.
You start playing with it.
Once you see it, man, you just go, whoa. Well, I'm so happy to see this and get some of my questions answered. We've been here with Sarah Fletcher, and like and share, and her contact information will be down below, and your friends will know you're smart. Bye-bye.